Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. Creation tools allows you to record and edit your broadcast so it sounds great. And they even distribute your broadcast for you so that it can be heard everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. So make sure you download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to Future Educators Talk with Damian Darren. I am your co-host, Damian Anderson. Back with me today on his final day on the podcast is Mr. Luther Funches.
Good morning. How are you?
I am good today. Today is Friday. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
All
Friday.
Right. Yes. As y'all can see, Darren is out again today. He is focusing on his mental health, but don't worry, he will be back with me on Monday. So let's get started today. So today we will be talking about interview questions for teachers. So this will definitely help out me and Darren, of course. So let's just hop right into it today. So this is like a important I believe this is like an important first step. There will likely be like a number of qualified candidates like vying for the same spot. So how can you distinguish yourself from the pack and land this job? You can do this by your resume, your reference, and your professional portfolio. This will help, but it's always this will always be the impression that you make during the face-to-face interview, I believe. That would get you hired. Do you believe that, Mr. Fred?
Yeah, I believe it. But it also too depends on the situation that you're in. Mm-hmm. So so when I went to interview for my position, the interview, believe it or not, the interview was real simple. But when I say it was real simple, it was questions that you had to either have confidence about or they knew if you were just jiving around. Mm-hmm. One particular question he asked me, he said, what makes you stand out from everybody else that's wanting the job? And I told him straight up, I said, I don't compare myself to other people. Mm-hmm. I said, you're asking me what makes me stand out. I said, my actions will speak for itself. Mm-hmm. I said, because if I give you an answer, that's what you're going to look to see. I said, but if my actions show you my answer, that's a different ballgame upon itself. And right after I left the interview, it was 7 minutes, they called and offered me the position. But that was just because, even though I'm not going to compare myself to other people. And yes, I get it. You're right. You're right too. Like, there are like other people wanting that job. But like you said, what's going to make you stand out? And it might not be a question. Mm-hmm. Let's say the first candidate came, right? Let's say his interview was at, let's say 9:30, and say he showed up at 9:25. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's say your interview, Damian, with me is at 10:30, and you show up at 10:15. You see the difference there? Mm-hmm. So now when I ask you this question, can I depend on you to be to work on time? What would your answer be? Yes, you can. Why do I know that you're telling me the truth? Because you were there 15 minutes early.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not just those, what can you do to bring your kids up in the you get what I'm saying? It's just not those typical type of questions. It's more to it, especially how you dress.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's all exactly. It's all about that dressing up professionally. Exactly. Luckily there are only like a few types, I believe, like the questions a teacher can be asked. So it's completely like possible to enter a teaching interview confident and be prepared. So so let's get right into the types of questions that the teachers they might be asked. So I know that they might be asked this question. I know for sure, which will be why did you decide to become a teacher? So with this, trying to answer this question, I believe for this, you should prepare a brief professional mission statement that probably explains not merely like how you want, not merely how you want to change, the students' lives, but also how you want, your own life to enrich by being a teacher. And also look up the school's vision statement in reference. So that's what I believe how you could answer that quite the question. Do you believe so with that?
Yeah, and also too, because administrators want to know you're motivated to work through inevitable frustrations. You get what I'm saying? And believe me, they've heard every generic answer in the book, so you don't want to repeat the same thing. Because the whole thing is, I want to help the kids and all that. That's not going to work all the time. So you gotta find something specific that shows you're motivated like nobody else. Remember, you got to stand out from everybody else.
Yes.
One of my friends reached out to me because I told them I was going to be on this podcast, and we were just talking about different answers. And his answer was, he said when he was in the 4th grade, he had trouble with math, and so Mr. Kendall said he had introduced them to like the amazing list of what numbers really were, like with multiplication and division. And he said they would do this every day. They worked on this every day. And what made it good for him is because how she switched. It just her care for them, how she switched it up. But he would show them everything that it had to do with math. You get what I'm saying? And so he took that and implemented with why he wanted to become a teacher. And guess what? He got that job because, for one, the principal saw how genuine it was. But for two, the principal saw that, hey, this guy was struggling, especially, if I'm going to put him in a situation to where we do have some struggling kids, I know he'll be a perfect fit for that class because I can see how motivated he is to make sure those kids get to where they want to get to. So that was for him. So maybe, when you ask that question or you're asked that question, think about what you went through when you were a child. Think about that one teacher who helped you. You can implement that or why you want to become a teacher, but make sure it's from your heart, and don't always put everything on that teacher, but just let them know, hey, when I went through this is what she did for me. But now that I think about it, I can also implement the things that she did as well as what I've incorporated, what I've seen, especially if you're looking at the school grade and seeing what percentage of the class is, graduating and things like that, whether it's elementary, middle, or high. So that'll be another good thing to take when that question is asked as well.
All right. That's a good one. Good one right there. So the next thing probably they might ask is, what is your teaching philosophy? So with this, maybe this question might be tricky, maybe, but with this, you need to respond. Your response, respond to this as your teaching mission statement. It's the answer to why you're a teacher. So it's very helpful if you write out your mission statement before the interview, and try to practice reciting it over and over and over again. Try to get it into your head. And discussing your teaching philosophy is like a chance to show off, your passion, why, what you want to accomplish, or how are you going to apply to this your new position, the classroom, and at the new school or something. So I believe that is probably what you should do of answering the what is your teaching philosophy. So
yeah, basically, what I told my principal was, to me, my teaching philosophy is, learning is the fundamental base of success. You get what I'm saying? And it continues throughout life. So my passion for learning has enabled me to empower students throughout the years of being involved, when I was subbing, the local school district and things like that. But being able to teach has given me the opportunity to show students how to broaden their beliefs, thoughts, and ideas. So, with history, it's so much that goes on. But to me, I also believe being an educator is more than teaching the concepts of a subject. I believe teaching is one of the most important jobs because teachers are able to give students opportunities to experience new and exciting knowledge about all aspects of our culture, our land, our humanity, and a chance to evaluate our own lives. So entering the classroom each day is a new experience for not just me, but for my students, because each day brings new challenges and achievement. By exposing my students to the positive aspects of life, me being a teacher watches my students grow from a person who is unaware of the richness of life to being able to appreciate the blessings within life. That was my teaching philosophy that I gave my principal.
Right. Right there.
But I also told him too, because he was like, so then what about history? And like I told him, I said, well, it is also my goal to enrich the students' lives by increasing their knowledge about history and different situations in life. By keeping this goal in mind each day, I know and I will be able to make a difference in each student's life. Teaching students knowledge and knowing that I make a difference in their day is why I want to be a teacher. And I feel shaping a person's life, even for a short amount of time, is an honor and a privilege, in which is a true blessing. And I felt like right then at that point, he was appalled. He couldn't even say nothing after that. I don't really know who was there before me, Damian, but all I know is I know God was working with me, and it was different for him, because he was like, I've never heard a teacher philosophy like that before.
Yeah,
because everybody, like you said, Damian, everybody wants to have the same teacher philosophy.
Yep. Exactly. They really do. So the next one that's probably a qualified teacher may be asked at a teaching interview would be, how do you include parents and the guardians in their child's education? So with this, probably administrators, they lean on the teachers to they keep a open line of communications with the parents, and they also see them as the publicists of the school, and they reinforce the culture, the strengths, and the values of the school to the parents. And they recount several ways you inform, you engage with, and collaborate with the parents and guardians through face-to-face meetings, notes, phone calls, or digital channels. And share how parents will volunteer in your classroom, and how you will maintain regular contact, providing updates on positive or negative events. And it's also great to share your plans for providing resources to the parents when students are struggling. So that's what I believe how you should answer probably that question.
And you also, just let them know that, even when kids do have certain situations, maybe not have a phone or things like that, you give them notes, so they can let their parents see, what they're doing in the class. That way, when you send a note home, it's not always one of those notes that your child was being disruptive. Like, this is what your child is doing. This is how much your child is achieving. And, that way they can write back to you, well, thank you, Mr. Damian, for letting me know how my child is doing. I also, we might not have this right now, but I want to also see what days are you available where I can come and volunteer, and just help around the classroom, and also see how you're teaching my child. So it's so many other things you can do as well. I mean, because like we talked about before, a lot of parents really don't have that technology like that. But a simple note can go a long way too. That also lets the administrative know that, hey, you're not only making sure that the parents who have, but you're also making sure that parents that don't have understand, what their child is doing in the classroom as well too. And you're making sure that you send them information to where they can come out and volunteer and things like that.
Yeah. So, next one. How do you maintain your own professional development? And what areas would you select for your personal growth? So you might read books or probably blogs or watch videos online or subscribe to journals or attend conference or workshops or be a member of a educational society in your field or whatever. But with this, be ready to talk about the specific resources that you keep up with the latest trends in education, such as the growth and benefits mindsets, flexible seating, flip and blended learning, mindfulness, market spaces, whatever. Also, in discussing your personal growth, explain ways that you want to further expand your teaching efficacy. And don't refer to teaching your weaknesses. So that's one that you should answer that question with.
And then with that, then they'll probably ask you too, how can you help our schools and students out with that same thing you just said, especially about the PD. And as for you, because you want to get into a field, what I would suggest for you, Dame, is to go talk to some of the teachers. You get what I'm saying? And see what it is. Okay, let's get back to little Matthew. We're gonna go with the classroom management. If I was you, Damian, I would go talk to other teachers and see and let them know maybe you've heard something about, their challenges with their classroom management. And so you would say within your own classroom management, you would say your skills are highly developed. And what I mean by that, because you've looked at certain things, you've been to certain PD, you've been to certain conferences for when it deals with classroom management. Okay. And then you would say, you use the mix of maybe nonverbal cues, transition cues, timeouts, and several other things, strategies to help you believe that what you're doing can be just as effective as, what other teachers are doing. But if you can bring that together, now not only are we talking about what it is that you can bring to the table, now that the other teachers see that, hey, this is a team player. So now we can all sit down together when we have like our staff meetings and put our brains together and see what can be done that all of us can succeed with classroom management.
Yes. Okay. I will do that. So next one. I believe they would definitely, I know with this question is, how do you teach 21st century learners integrate technology and guide students to be global citizens? So be prepared to talk about how you teach global citizenships and encourage critical thinking and good communication skills, because you definitely will need that. And also, technology is the forefront of education. So your interview is the time to show off that, and talk about why you're excited to use technology with your students. Was you asked about this question during any one of your interviews?
I mean, we never got into it. I mean, and for most people, they're probably gonna be figuring out what is global citizenship. But what they need to realize is global citizenship is the idea that all people have rights and civil responsibilities. You don't cast no one out. You get what I'm saying? We have some teachers who, and so if that question is asked, and the first thing they want to say is, well, global citizenship to me is making sure that just that bunch get that. No, that's gonna get you out the door. Everybody is equal in your class. With me, with technology, man, I love Kahoot. My kids love Kahoot. My kids love Nearpod. You get what I'm saying? So when I said that to my principal, he was already like, yeah, I can see right now that it's going to be a lot of engagement with Mr. Luther's class. Because like I told him, I say, sir, I said, I ain't with the books and writing notes all day. I say, man, I like to get on my smart board and we going to take these kids, we going to take them to Egypt. Even though they can't literally get on the plane to go to Egypt, but in their mind, in that classroom, we're going to set it up as Egypt. So you're going to see the technology that we're going to be going through. You're going to see the Kahoot games that shows what they've learned, what they need to work on. But at the same time, everything is so technology based, if that makes sense of what I'm saying. Yeah. So when they hear that, especially when I told you about the TQRP that I went to, I learned all this at TQRP. So everything that I learned at TQRP, I just brought it with me to my interview. But because he knew what I was talking about, and because when he asked me questions about Kahoot or Nearpod and things like that, and I was able to answer those questions like I needed to, guess what? He already knew technology was going to be the thing in the classroom. He already knew that everybody in my class was going to be equal. It didn't matter if you was Arab, Islam, it didn't matter what it was. Everybody is going to learn about history, and everybody is going to understand where they come from. So you incorporate that, and then you incorporate the global, and then you can have a party now.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Like I mentioned, in a couple of episodes ago, that I will definitely be like incorporating technology with my students, because like I'm sorry to like all the other teachers, but I will not be those like boring teachers, who be using like books and stuff or the notes. Like I'm just like, I like to like engage with people. That's like me. So I'm just, because I want my students like explore, like you said, like I just want them to like explore like everything, engage. That's the point. Like engage with your students. That's just try to make it fun with them. So
which brings me to this. So then you would get a question of, how would you get your class ready for the first day of school? And just like you said, you want your classroom to be welcoming and nourishing. You also want to make the ground rules obvious, though. Like, you're just not going to come in here and think you're going to run over me, but at the same time, have a welcome sign. Label the desk. That's only for elementary, because middle school and high school we ain't doing that. But I'm saying, like, for elementary, you label those desks. You know what I'm saying? Make sure your students feel at home from day one. Engage in posters and other visual aids to help create a sense of excitement. And beyond fun, a large list of rules and consequences at the front of the room helps that class start off on the right foot. Like that's just what it is. So when they see that, they know that you're the teacher. Okay, from the teacher, you're the protector. From the protector, you're the person they can come to. You get what I'm saying? You're the lover. Like, and when I say lover, they see like how much passion you have for them. So if that means when I come to your class, Damian, me, you're gonna do our little handshake and do what we gotta do, guess what? That's that love I express from you. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a physical touch. I don't, because people take that word the wrong way. That doesn't mean you have to physically touch a child. That can mean like a handshake or something. Like you get what I'm saying. But that's what the principal want to see. So when I walk in your classroom, do I feel like I'm at home? Do I feel like it's yours? Or are you just here? You just put something up and said, all right, that is what it is. Let's get to what we got to get to. No, they want to know, how are you going to set your classroom up? How are you going to feel? That's another question. It might not be answered every time, but just be prepared for certain little and understand it might just come out the blue. You get what I'm saying? They might just throw it in there just to see how you respond to it.
Okay. All right. So another one is describe. We probably talk. I don't know. We talk about this maybe. Describe your classroom management structure. So with this, like if you're a veteran teacher, discuss how you have handled your classroom in the past. Give specific examples of things that work the best and explain why to them. And if you're a new teacher, then explain what you have learned as a student teacher and tell them how you will map out a plan to run out your first classroom. So no matter how long you have been teaching, familiarize yourself with the school district philosophies on classroom management and discipline. So mention how you will incorporate their philosophy and stay true to your own. I believe that's important. Stay true to your own. If you're unable to find out much about their philosophy, you should, I don't know if you can do that, but ask the interview to explain. So, what do you think of that, Mr. Luther?
Oh yeah, it goes back to what we talked about when I was like, make sure you talk to your teacher, that teacher about what they've been through and things like that, the challenges with their classroom management skills. That just falls back to what we was talking about. I mean, I agree with everything that you just said about that. I mean, because we, like earlier, as we were talking, we nailed some key points, and just now you nailed some key points. So, like I said, with this podcast today, is pretty much you have to listen to what we're saying. You got to take down notes because we're giving you the blueprint. We're setting the foundation for you, but it's up to you, you know, how you want to receive it. Right. So we've already planted the seed, especially about classroom management. Now it's up to you to see if you're going to absorb it and grow. Because I would rather everybody who's listening to this, we want you all to grow as oak trees. And let me tell you why I say that, because oak trees are firm and strong, Damian. So when anything comes near them, they won't fall. But if you just want to be just a regular tree, then when storms come your way, you're going to tilt over. And now you got to start over again from the roots to the seeds. You get what I'm saying? But as an oak tree, you're firm. You're going to stand there. And anything that comes your way is not going to knock you down. So, like we say with this podcast, these are good questions. These are good answers that we're giving. There's even more out there in the world, you know, of social media that can also give you good tips and ideas. But, you know, hearing it word from word like we're doing is going to also be beneficial as well. And I got one for you. I want to see how you would answer this question.
Okay.
What do you find most frustrating about teaching? Now, I want to see how you would answer that question.
Ugh. Okay. Ugh. How do I? Okay. Say that again. How do I feel?
What do you find most frustrating about teaching?
Oh gosh. Okay, that's like out of the blue, out of here. I don't. Okay, now I know I cannot say that. Okay, you just like put me on the spot here today. So, okay. To be honest, to be honest, like the teachers, like, okay, to me, like, I feel like all of the stress like they are on. That's my opinion. Like they are like so much stress because they to me, like, they deserve more. They deserve better of what they are doing because they I mean, they deserve a lot more of what they are doing. The paying, they need to get paid more of what they are earning. To me, I just feel like I said I don't know how to. You just put me like on the spot here, and I don't know. They are like just stressed out every day.
Okay, so let me stop you there. So we're talking about teaching, right? Now, This one right here, this question is to see if you are easily discouraged, and you didn't sound discouraged. Okay, but when you answer that, you have to show your inner strength. So like for me, I get frustrated when bright kids who become overconfident and don't apply themselves, right? So there's nothing sadder and more common than wasted potential. So when I was subbing, I worked with several kids who wouldn't even try. And all I did was implement what the teacher had told me to do to incorporate the students' ideas into the lesson plan. So, but the addition of their thoughts created more complete engagement. And then when they understood what I was saying, their test scores went up 25% in the last 2 months. So that's what frustrates me as a teacher. So, but you see how I answered that question though.
Yeah.
So the same way you feel about the teachers, that you answer it just like that. And I like how you answer, but don't too much. You get what I'm saying? Get to it. Get to it. And it wasn't me putting you on the spot, but sometimes that's what a principal is going to do. He's going to put you on, or he or she is going to put you on the spot right then and there. So they want to see how you going to respond to it.
Gotcha on that.
Okay, and I got one more for you.
Okay.
Why should we hire you to teach here?
Okay. Why should
the school hire you to teach there? Yes.
Okay. So
give me something about math. Why should we hire you? Why should we hire you to be the math teacher here? You got it.
Okay. Okay.
You got it, Daniel. Come on. Don't think about it. Give me your heart.
Okay.
You just said it earlier, David. I don't know why you won't say it, because you just said it earlier. Just put it all together. Okay, I got you. So you would basically say you are well aware of the technology initiative. Remember, we talked about the technology. And then you would say, because of your strong background in learning about math and technology, that you would be able to, not only when you teach math, but you'd be able to add like online quizzes, so like the kids can see where they're going. And then you will see how the students are also engaged, and you know that the students will love that, because now they are able to see where they used to be compared to where they are now. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So with the Kahoot games and things like that. And that also helped cutting the administrative processing by 25%. So like, just it's math. So you've already talked about the technology. You've already talked about the global part, right? So now all you got to do is just add that together.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm good now.
You good?
Yeah. I'm just okay. I'm fine now. Okay. Woo. Okay. So okay. I'm good now. Okay. So I get what you were saying, that they will do that.
Yes.
They might do that to us. So so I will need to be prepared for that. Yes. On the spot. So
yes.
So okay. So the next one that might be asked is how do you connect your lessons to the real world? So with this, you could so incorporate real world connection into your lesson plans. This will help students understand why what they're learning is very helpful beyond the classroom, and explain how you will facilitate this kind of authentic learning for your students. So, will you invite guest speakers? Will you use primary source documents? Will you tighten current affairs when possible? Show that your methods extend beyond whatever. So, was you asked this question during any of your interviews?
Yeah. So like I told them, we're making history every day. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? We're making history like every day. Something that is going on right now is making history. So how you apply that to your life is whatever negativity you learned about or you're going through, now change that whole mind frame of yours and make history and make it become positive. So do something that's never been done before, but make it into something that's positive. Make your name stand behind what you're doing. So like we make history when our school teams are bad, right? And let's just say we go 0-23. But now the following year we went 23-0. What have we just done, then? We just made history because that's the first winningest program they had in school. Okay, the negative portion, only 20% of our seniors have graduated from this school. All right, now take that negative part of it and turn it into a positive. Now we got 85% of our students graduating from high school. Is that not history being made? So you don't really have to. I mean, people who bring in outsiders, like, there's nothing wrong with that. But to me, what can you do to change the course of how you implement what you're teaching into the real world life? That is into the real world life. That is you. That is all on you. I get what you get. I get it. But you, Damian, me, Mr. Luther, somebody else, what are we doing? You get what I'm saying?
Totally.
So I shouldn't have to, because to me, I just feel like that's a cop out. And I'm not, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with bringing in guest speakers. I'm not saying that. But come on, Damien, it's the first week of school. Why are you ain't even gave yourself an opportunity yet to even see what you can do. But you're telling the kids, we're going to have a guest speaker come in. We're going to talk about everyday life situations to see, to make sure you learn how to succeed in the real world. So why are you here? What are you here for? So then when that principal comes in, guess what he's going to say? I just asked you that. You get what I'm saying? I remember asking you that question in the interview. You know, what is it that you can do to change, like you said? And now you know he's going to go back in that office like, nah. So basically, you just told me something, Damon, that I just wanted to hear. It wasn't.
I mean, it's like, to me, I just feel like it's just like a waste of time. So it's just a waste. So whatever. So the next one is, what are some methods you use to check for understanding as you're teaching? This is one thing. It's one thing to prepare a high qualified lesson plan, but if your students are not following along, then what in the world, what's the use of doing this? Explain how your instruction will be responsive to your students' needs. Will you have students turn and talk while you listen in, or implement exit slips summarizing what they have learned? Do you have a quick check method, like thumbs up or thumbs down or whatever, to quickly scan for understanding? What are you doing to check for their understanding? So that's one way that you could probably answer. How are you going to answer that question? So what do you think of that?
Yeah, what I do, I evaluate my students with formal and informal methods. All right, so that's including quizzes and tests, right? But I also grade in-class activities, like reports, recitations, the Kahoot games I was telling you about, group activities. Now, one of my students, they showed a strong grasp of concepts doing the in-class activities, but they had bad testing skills. So what I did was working closely with her. I realized that baby girl couldn't see. She had a vision problem. So we didn't, we had to go and talk, to her mother. We had to talk to the principal, and they didn't have any they didn't have no insurance to get the young lady any glasses. So not only was she not doing well in my class, but she wasn't doing well in other class because she just, she couldn't see.
Yeah.
So what we decided to do was we did a incognito fundraiser for her to get her glasses. And then once she got that, man, the sky was the limit for that young lady because her test scores were high. You get what I'm saying? And then everything, it just matched her in-class comprehension, like just off the base and needs, because all you needed was glasses. And so we didn't have to sit here and broadcast that out loud. You get what I'm saying? Here you go, ma'am. Go get your daughter her eye test. This is what we did because we see the potential and we care. We didn't throw them out there because, you can't afford it. I hate when people do that. No, ma'am, here. This is from this is from us to you. Go get that baby some glasses. So that's how I do things. Assessment is key sometimes. And assessment don't have to be paper. Assessment can be like a Kahoot game, Nearpod, or just like I said, recitation of what you've learned. Right. That's an exit ticket as well. But everybody feel like paper and pencil. No, that's not it. Like you said. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just hate it when teachers do that. We could do something else than just paper and pencil. I just hate it doing that. Just give us something else we can do just instead of paper and pencil. I mean, come on now. I'm just tired of doing that. I mean, there's other ways you could we could do this. I mean,
as an educator, Damian, what is one thing that you are as an educator? You're creative. There's nothing in your job description that says you cannot be creative. You're not working at Wall Street. You understand what I'm saying? You're not working. You're not working at a law firm. You're a teacher, so you can be as creative as you want to be. As long as those kids are getting what they need, you good to go. You are good to go. Man, see, I'm telling you, whoever is going to listen to this, I'm telling you, you're going to get some good stuff. Cause
they're going to get lots of good informations on this.
Yes.
Lots of good stuff. So,
another thing too, you want to be flexible as well. Especially when you're going to your first teaching interview. Still make sure you answer the questions genuinely. Make sure you nail those questions. Make sure you do have that portfolio with you, like you said. And just, with that being said, man, just be confident in who you are. Be confident in who you are. And another thing too, what questions do you have for me? You know they're going to ask you that, right? So
exactly.
So
exactly.
Ask them that. Ask questions because it lets them see your interest in the job. It can also show you being an impressive candidate. It takes time away from their teaching interview question, and that lets them know that you're out of the hot seat. Just things like that. What made you become a principal? You get what I'm saying? Why did what is it that you want to see within your school grow? What needs to be done with the position that I'm applying for? What are some things that you have vision for math? And now he's sitting there looking at David okay. Because the other 5 candidates never asked me what did they say? You have any questions? No, that's about it. Thank you. So you ain't got no questions at all. And then they're gonna say this, okay, well, we'll get back with you. Thank you. And when they say we'll get back with you, thank you, you already know what that means, right? Or Or they'll say this
They're
one, Damian. Well, we have like other candidates, so we're.
yeah, no, yeah, no, not gonna happen.
You get what I'm saying? So when
Yeah,
they say that, it's like they don't think like, oh no, they're like, oh, I got this job. No, this man just said he has 4 more people he'll be interviewing today, and he'll give you a call next week to see if you'll have the position. No, if that principal calls you 7 minutes later, guess what? Thank you for your interview. I want to let you know we would like to give you the job.
mm-hmm. Yep. So, next one is, what, which activities or clubs or sports are you willing to sponsor if you are offered this position? So, while this expectation may be like a more of a real for like middle or a secondary teachers, being the new kid on the block often comes with a conversion of your title from being teacher to becoming from teacher to a coach. Mm-hmm. So if athletics is not on your if it's not one of your strengths, you can still get like the edge of your the competitive or sponsoring science club or yearbook or academic team. And you might also share like a special skill like knitting or creative writing and offer to teach it to interested students. So that's like a great way to do that. So what do you think of that?
I mean, that's good. Like, so I told y'all I coach. So with what we did was we sponsored a child from like either the volleyball team, when they have fall sports. So basically all we did, it's not like their team dad or team, whatever it is that they call it. And basically what it was, if the kids needed like Gatorade or, they needed something to eat, we would just go buy them food before their games and things like that. It wasn't an everyday thing, but it just be one of those days like, hey, you know what? You don't even have to call your parents. What would you like to eat before your game today? And then we'll wear their jerseys to the game and things like that. It was just, letting them know that we are in support no matter what it was. And then you have people put together like mentoring programs to sponsor young men. So, they could get out of the inner city and actually get out of the city that they live in and go see like other states. You get what I'm saying? See what colleges they have there, things like that. I mean, there's so much you can do with that. It's so much. But the only thing is, what we have to stop doing, we have to do something other than mentoring. Like you said, do a science club, do a baking club. Like every time you look somewhere, David, where we're having a mentoring man, you know how many mentoring programs it is? You don't have to do all that to do no mentoring program. You can just call in those, hey, I want to be your mentor. This is what I want to do. We don't have to have no club for that thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't want people taking it the wrong way, like I'm saying it is, but bro, that's all we do. Can we do something different, please? Everybody want to be a mentor and then don't want to take the responsibility of being a mentor.
Yep.
Can we have a step team? I know it's plenty of people that are part of D9. So guess what? Why not bring your sorority sisters or your fraternity brothers and start a step team? What's wrong with that? Make the first ever step team at your school. So at homecoming, when they have events, guess what you can do? You can show off what you've learned when you were part of your organization. Now you incorporate it into the kids, and boom, they rocking and rolling. Now you got the homecoming, the band, and they're looking like, oh snap, okay. I want to get into that. You get what I'm saying? Like, that everybody got a different avenue they can do. But once again, Damian, all we want to do is, well, we have a mentor meeting, and okay, that's all you got. Like, no debate team, no nothing, no math team, no nothing. We just straight mentoring for the whole year, right? All right. But like we said before, be creative.
Yep.
Be creative.
All about that. Being creative. All about that. So next one you could be asked is, how do you assess your students' progress?
Go ahead.
This is your chance right here to preview your lesson plans and reveal your methods for keeping on top of your students' social, academics, and physical development. Explain the types of quizzes you give out, because you know that they're most telling about the students' strengths and weaknesses. Give insights into how you use or reports or group projects and your seating arrangements in your classroom to determine who's struggling and who's ahead in your class. And also share how you implement open communication with your students and also to discover what they need to succeed in your classroom. So that's my opinion on that, with that question. Do you have something to say on that, Mr. Luther?
You nailed that one, because that's really how it goes. So, and then you got to understand that also helps with your data as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, you nailed that one. And I like how you answered that, man. See, that's what I'm saying. You see how confident you was when you answered that? You sounded good, man. That's how you got to be every time. Every time. Don't get nervous.
All right.
You know I'm gonna mess with you. You know I'm gonna mess with you.
Yes. I know. All right. So the next one you could be asked during the interview is, which components of your resume are you most proud of and why? So, you know that pride comes before a fall, and but if asked about your accomplishment, do not be bashful about it, about finding your worth. So have you won a grant for classroom materials? Share the details about how it has helped your students succeed. So, did you receive an award for excellence in instructions? Talk about how the application process helped you reflect and grow. And if you are a recent graduate, you can brag about yourself. Describe your student teaching experience and how it has prepared you for opportunities like the job opening that you are vying for. Small things like professional organization memberships. This can also help you rely your interest in staying up to the date on the latest educational resources and the best professional development. So that's probably a good way of doing that.
So like I was part of Kappa Delta Pi International Teachers Honor Society, and I was also Mr. Kappa Delta Pi. So I got to be in the what's that thing called for homecoming? The when they crown the Mr. and Mrs. of the school, coordination. So I was in coordination and everything like that. Like that was something that I was proud of. And then you always hear me talk about TQRP. Man, TQRP that's something that I'm definitely always proud of to put in on my resume, man. Because being a first year teacher, I got hands on at TQRP about differential instruction, the 4 C's, things like that. Doing my teaching to my colleagues, we call them fellows. Just getting that feedback from them of what we did right, what we need to work on, and things like that, man. But TQRP actually like really changed my life, man. That's why I'm so excited when I talk about it, because the question that you're asking me now, Damian, the TQRP, man, those questions are rigorous. And when I tell you they're rigorous, but it helps you and it prepares you. You understand what I'm saying? It don't take a lot of people, man. Now TQRP, that's just like a teaching job position. They don't take everybody, man. So if you're not on your P's and Q's when you answering those questions on the computer, hey man, I ain't being funny, damn, they gonna just bypass you. Because they need people who are ready to be sharp as iron, who may have some experience, but they want to continue to grow and become better teachers. So you got your in-service teachers, and then you got your teachers who are just now getting to the classroom. And when you bring that together, you got so much excellence, man. So that's what I always talk about when they ask me about my strong accomplishments. I always mention TQRP, because that's just a tough program to get into, but it prepares you to be a teacher.
Okay. All right. And